Hey, all you real estate agents and future real estate agents. It is time for another webinar, Agent School webinar, how to structure your day and achieve your goals. We're going to wait just a couple minutes for everyone to hop on. But in the meantime, hope you are having a great day. Great morning. Grab yourself a cup of coffee or water and maybe a pen and paper. This will be recorded and up, so you can always return to it. Yeah, but if you want to take notes, I think that'd be super helpful. Or also have a calendar up if you use any calendar, a planner, a physical planner, or a like Google Calendar or anything like that. And John, hello everyone. California, we got Indiana, Arizona. Hi Shayla, my name is Melanie Ginsberg. I'm the instructor today. Hello from Georgia. I'm in Austin, Texas. It is a beautiful sunny day here in Austin, Texas, and I'm in a great mood. Hey Roy, how's it going? So many friends here, everyone. I love this community. Everyone is so great. So, as always, before we get started, this is live and it will be up later. So, if you have any questions, as you can see, I'm reading the chat. I will answer any question that you have. Today we're talking about how to structure your day and achieve your goals. Hi Shayla. Yes, I am new. Congrats on passing. I do just agent school stuff, so not prep agent, not helping with the exam, but more marketing, and this one's about planning and goal setting. So I'm super happy to be here. As I was saying, if you have any questions, you can put it in the chat, or I will put up my Instagram handle. If you have any questions later, you can message me there. It's my name, melanie.ginsberg.realtor. And I'm on Instagram a lot, so if you have any questions, you can find me there. But if you're live on this call, you can just put it in the chat box, and I will read it. Today we're talking about structure and organization, which is super hard for real estate agents. Christina says, were you born organized or did you have to learn it? Christina, I cannot stress enough that I am the least organized person you will ever meet. I definitely was not born organized, and I would say that even today I am not organized, but I force myself to do it. And what I'll teach you in this is I have systems that make it easier for me. My goal is to basically set up my day and my weeks so that I don't have to rely on my own willpower or discipline or organization skills, because if I did only rely on those things, I would fail. So, yep, you're in the right place if you don't think that you're organized, if you don't think that you're disciplined, because I will help you set yourself up for success. And Roy asked if the exam was the easiest part of real estate. It depends. It depends. It's definitely... The exam is very easy because there's a keyword and a definition. There's a right and a wrong answer. And with real estate, actually doing it and finding clients, there's a million different ways to market yourself, and there's a million different ways to do negotiations if you have an offer and you're competing with other clients. And so it's not just black or white, which can be easier or harder depending on how you look at things. So yeah, we're going to jump in. Oh, like I was saying, a lot of people come into real estate from a typical 9-to-5 job where they have a boss and they have someone telling them what to do, or, strict assignments. And it can be a crazy wake-up call when they start and they realize their broker, while their broker is kind of their boss, not really. We're all independent contractors as real estate agents, so it's kind of every man for themselves, every woman, whatever, for themselves, which means we only need to rely on ourselves. And like I was saying, if you don't think that you have the organization or the discipline or whatever within you intrinsically, systems can really help. And goals. I love goals. So, okay, I'm getting super excited. I hope you guys are super excited too. This is a very actionable one. And I hope all of you at the end of this hour can walk away with basically a step-by-step plan of what to do. Laura, I'm not built for a 9-to-5 job either. So good thing you're in real estate, because that is the place for you. Okay, so start with the end in mind for anything. I read a quote the other day that was so good. It was like, if you doing stuff, I'm going to totally butcher it. It's like taking action isn't the only ingredient to success, because if you take a bunch of action, if you run a mile but it's in the wrong direction, you're going to be 2 miles away from your goal. So it's not just about being busy and doing a lot of things. It's about being very intentional with the things that you are doing, so you're taking steps in the right direction that are actually helping you achieve your goal. And if you don't know what your goals are, how can you take the right action, So goals are super important. Not only do they give you the roadmap and the framework for what to do, but for me, they're also super, super inspiring. So I'll get to that in a second. But if you have a pen and paper, if you want to write down what your goals are, or if you want to put it in the chat, we can share and inspire each other, or if you just want to think about it for yourself. What got you into real estate in the first place? Is it because you're not built for a 9-to-5 job like some of us? Is it because you want more money for your family, more freedom? Is it because you think that the housing situation in America is terrible and homelessness is a big issue that you're passionate about, so you want to help people? Like, there are a million different things. And once you have your goal, then it's easy to kind of reverse engineer and figure out what you should be spending your time on and spending your days on. So how many of you have heard of SMART goals? Let me know in the chat. This is something that I didn't learn about until recently, and I wish that I did know about them earlier, because they're amazing and they're super, super helpful. So in the chat, let me know if you have heard of SMART goals. And if you have heard of them, do you have SMART goals for yourself? Because there's a difference between knowing and doing. And I know a lot of things, but I don't do them. So that, let me know. And I'm going to try to fix, I can never really figure out how to make this look like it's just in the box. Oh my God, maybe I did it. I've been doing these for weeks now, and every time I'm like, oh, the screen isn't perfectly in it. And if you've been here before, you know that I can be a perfectionist. So it drives me crazy, but I think I maybe just figured it out. And I'm very excited about it. Okay, you have not heard of SMART goals. Amazing. That's great, because that means this is new and what I'm teaching you will be super beneficial. So SMART is an acronym. The first letter stands for specific. So, SMART is an acronym to describe how to set goals. So the first thing is specific. A goal must be specific. Saying, I want to make a lot of money, versus saying, I want to specifically make enough money to pay my bills and have a little bit extra at the end of the month or at the end of the week. Or I want to sell a lot of houses, or specifically, I want to sell 3 houses a month or a year or whatever it is, so the reason why having specific goals is better is because it helps you. All of this is about helping you narrow it down, because the more clear you are about what you want, the easier it will be for you to achieve it. So S stands for specific. Be very specific in your goals. M stands for measurable, which is similar to specific, but kind of the next level. So saying, I want to make enough money to pay all my bills, well, what is that? Is it $2,000? Is it $5,000? Is it anywhere in between? Do you want to make $1 million a year? Whatever it is, make it measurable, because then it's very easy, kind of like I was saying in the beginning, why studying for the real estate exam I think was easier, because there's a set definition for things. It's either right or wrong. So when you have measurable goals, either you've hit it or you haven't, yes or no. Whereas if your goal is, I want to make a lot of money, you'll never know if you ever hit it, and then you're always in the chase. And that's not necessarily a good feeling. It can be inspiring to be like, oh, I'm chasing, but most of the time it's just frustrating, and we feel like, oh, I've never hit my goals. And the reason you don't hit your goals is because you never even set them, because what is a lot of money, or helping a lot of people? So make it measurable. I want 3 buyer clients or 3 seller clients or whatever. And then this is super helpful because, like I said, you can reverse engineer it. Okay, so let's say you want 1 client a month. How many people do you need to talk to get 1 client a month? And then you say, okay, let's say that my conversion rate is 10%. So if I talk to 100 people, I would get 1 client, that's 1%. Your conversion rate is 1%. If you talk to 100 people, you'll get 1 client. And then you say, okay, 1 client a month means I have to talk to 100 people a month. Well, there are 30 days in a month, so I need to talk to, let's just round up because you're ambitious, 4 people a day. And then all of a sudden, instead of waking up in the morning and being like, oh my God, I know I want 1 client, but I don't know how to get it, you can wake up and say, all I need to do today is talk to 4 people, you know? And then from there, you can say, okay, how do I want to talk to those 4 people? Is that adding 4 friends on Facebook, or messaging 4 people on Instagram, or going to a coffee shop and introducing myself to 4 people a day? You see what I'm saying? Like, it takes the very vague and, for me, overwhelming things and makes it very tangible and actionable, you know? Because an overwhelmed brain shuts down. But if you wake up and you just have a to-do list and it's like, today I'm going to go to the park and I'm going to hand out popsicles and make 4 friends, that's really easy. And then you know exactly what to do and you're more likely to do it. So, specific and measurable. You want it to be attainable. This is huge for just personal self-esteem, and also you want to set yourself up for success. You know, I don't want you to say, okay, I want to sell 100 homes in my first year as a real estate agent. I don't know. That probably just won't happen. I am all for dreaming big, and I have very, very huge goals, but I also know that I need to break them down, because if you set a goal that's unattainable and you try really hard at it for however many months you have, you'll get so frustrated and you'll likely give up. And this is kind of what I was saying before about how I don't think of myself as a very organized person, and I also don't think of myself as a very disciplined person. So what gets me going is these little, smaller, bite-sized goals that I have, because then you get the momentum. It's like, oh, I wanted to go hand out popsicles to 4 people and I met 5 people, and now you're excited. And instead of saying, I wanted to meet 100 people and I only met 5, where you're disappointed in yourself, and, you know, maybe you're mentally beating yourself up, you're feeling proud of yourself and you're like, wow, I even met 1 extra person. I'm awesome. I can do it. I believe in myself. And then over time, you just grow that mental strength. So Christina, for your question, how do I create the mental change to reach those goals? I will get to that in a little bit, but this is part of it. It's just the way that we get self-esteem. 1, people say, fake it till you make it all the time. And I think that can work sometimes, but you're oversimplifying it, because obviously if you were able to fake it, you would just do it, you know? So I think instead a better way is to have micro steps, like baby steps on the path, because self-esteem is just the belief that you are capable of doing that thing. Like, I have no self-esteem when it comes to karate, because I've never done it, and therefore my self-esteem is very, very low in that category. But if I took a couple karate lessons and, you know, again, I have no self-esteem. If on my first day of karate I challenged the best fighter in the whole world, and obviously I would get my butt kicked, I would still have very, very, very low self-esteem in karate. But on the other hand, if I just tried karate once a week and I started going to lessons, and then I maybe fought someone who was going really easy on me, and then slowly you see, oh, I'm getting better, I can do this, and over time your self-esteem grows, which is the coolest thing about being a human. As a small tangent, our brains are so malleable, and if you start trying something new, like if you say to yourself, I'm a bad reader, but then if you read 1 paragraph a day, and then eventually you're like, oh, I can do this, and then it's 1 page a day, and then over time you can literally change how you feel about reading, and then instead of being a bad reader, you're a great reader, and it's just very, very exciting. So basically, to answer your question, small steps, baby steps, same for everything. And to bring it back, that's why having attainable goals is so, so important, because you can't say, I want to sell 100 homes. That's like saying, I want to be the best karate fighter in the whole world, even though I've never taken a karate class. I know a lot of you are new. So set attainable goals so you can realize that you are totally capable, and you are, worthy of all of your dreams and success, and you'll just get there, but it takes time. Great question, though. So Attainable is A. Then we have relevant. So perfect would be like if a goal that you have for yourself is to be the best karate person in the world, like that has nothing to do with your real estate career, you know? And maybe some of you are thinking, why did Melanie just go on this crazy tangent about karate when I'm here to learn about real estate? So you want to keep it relevant. And maybe some of your goals, like I have a goal of helping billions of people in the world, and some people might think that's irrelevant in my real estate career, but I see real estate as a way, like right now I'm helping you guys and I'm helping my clients, and it's still in the same realm of my big goal. It's just a little extended, if that makes sense. Question is, what if you're bad at putting yourself out there? Randy, it's the same exact thing. Just do one thing. I used to be so shy. I wouldn't even talk to waiters and waitresses at a restaurant. And then what I started doing is forcing myself to talk to them just one at a time. So like I would go out and be like, just instead of just saying what I wanted to order, ask them, how's your day today? And I told myself, they're being paid to be nice to me, so they have to. And I slowly got comfortable talking to waiters and waitresses. And then I would challenge myself a little bit, you know. Then I'd be like, oh, if you're in an elevator with someone, just smile and say, hope you have a good day, you know. And again, the same thing I was saying about reading one page a day or any goal. If you just stretch yourself a little bit every single day or every single week, you will get there. And I promise you, I used to be so nervous. I used to be so scared about talking to people. Now I have YouTube videos, I public speak, I do all these things, and it won't happen overnight, but if you're committed to it, I definitely believe that you can get more comfortable. So far we've got specific, measurable, attainable, and relevant. And then T, the last one, is time bound. This one is very important because the whole reason we set SMART goals is that so we can hold ourselves accountable. So saying, okay, I want to earn $1 million. Cool. Do you want to earn $1 million by next month? By next year? Do you want to earn $1 million before you die? Do you want to earn $1 million in the next 15 years? You know, and all of those are very different. If I want to earn $1 million in the next 10 years, the plan that I set up for myself is going to look really different than if I want to earn $1 million in the next 30 years, you know? So make it time bound. And I suggest much smaller time constraints. So, and this is all about making them attainable as well. I have my big goals, my life goals that I think it's really important to have those. But I also have my weekly goals, my daily goals. I like to do quarterly goals, which is 90 days, because I think that's a good amount of time to focus on one thing and really try it. Like for this quarter, 90 days, I'm really focusing on my YouTube channel, and I'm gonna really focus on making better YouTube videos and trying to get more subscribers and more views on that. And then after 90 days, I can look at it and say, okay, did that help grow my business? Am I getting clients from it? Is this, you know, is it relevant? Is it bringing me to my goal? So I like time-bound. I like to do all different kinds of time-bound goals. And same for SMART goals. Like I suggest setting aside like 30 minutes or an hour if you have time today after this or whenever, and just write down your 10-year goal, and then your 5-year goal, and then your 1-year goal. And then you say, okay, if I want to be here in 1 year, where do I need to be in 6 months? And then from 6 months next month, okay, what should I be doing this week to help me get to that 1 month goal? And then what should I be doing today to get me to that 1 week goal? And you can kind of break it down that way. Sarah asked about vision boards, and I definitely believe in vision boards, and I think they're an amazing way to keep yourself motivated. I'll get to that actually in a second. Having a vision board and saying, why did I get my real estate license in the first place? What do I want my life to look like? My fiance Jordan has a huge vision board in his office, and he looks at it every day, and I'm sure that helps him stay focused when he's tired or bored or, you know, whatever it is. A lot of the ways to stay, you know, to have structure to your day is to remind yourself to stay motivated. So, of course, everyone gets distracted, everyone gets tired, everyone wants to, you know, take a nap when they should be working. But if you remember, actually, I'll just go to the next one. If you remember your why, which is very much what a vision board is. Why are you doing this? Is it because you want to travel with your family? Is it because you want to buy your parents a house? Is it because you want to buy yourself a house? Is it because you want to get out of debt? There's so many reasons that could be motivating you, and everyone has a different why. And having a why is super important. So whether your why is just, maybe it is a vision board that you can make and print out and put it wherever you can see it, or just a sentence. My why could be financial freedom or time freedom, more time with my kids, more time with my family, whatever it is. It can just be one sentence that you write down and, you hang it up and look at it, or a picture of your kids. I know a lot of people that just do that. And then when they want to quit, it's like, oh, look at my baby girl or my baby boy or however old your kids are. And that keeps you going. So what's your why? Let me catch up on questions a little bit. How do you have so much time to review all these goals? I wouldn't get anything done. Great question, Christina. So you only have to set them once, and then it will get easier too. So if you know that your 10-year goal is to become a broker or whatever, then you think about it once and you come up with your goal, and then you know it from here on out. Having a weekly goal is more about thinking, what is the one, I'll get to that later, but what is the one thing that I would love to accomplish this week? And I set aside time on Sunday. Honestly, it's just 5 minutes. And I review my previous week, and I look at the upcoming week and what would I like to achieve, and then I do it. And that's it. It takes a little bit of time your first time, because you have to do some soul searching and thinking about what you want and, what's realistic for you and all of the SMART acronym. But you don't need to be doing all of this every single day for 5 hours. So yeah, mindset is definitely key. Zig Ziglar is great. And yeah, a lot of motivational coaches and stuff will have other ways to talk about how to, structure your schedule. And Christina, if you don't even know what's attainable, first of all, you can ask around or just Google things. I think this statistic is the average agent sells maybe 1 or 2 homes their first year. Not to scare you guys, but it's something really low. So it's important to do research about the industry and talk to other agents and see what they did, because that's a great point, Christina. If you don't know, and then maybe you set a goal for 12 houses, and then you take it, if you don't sell 12 houses, you're like, oh my God, it's me. I'm probably a bad agent. I can't do this. But really, it's just the industry. It's a hard industry to get your foot in the door. There's a lot of real estate agents. I know all of you can do it, definitely, but it just takes time. Diana says, break down financial freedom. What does that mean for you? Yeah, financial freedom means something different to everyone as well. So goals are super, super personal and specific. And that's another really big thing, because if you know your goal and your why, it can be really easy to tune everything out, So if your goal is to just, if you want to, this is an extreme example, but if you just want to buy a remote house in the cabin and live there with your family and your dog, and then someone is like, hey, do you want to go on this cruise with me? Do you want to travel? Do you want to buy this fancy sports car? Do you want, other things that society says should be our goal? It's easy to be like, no, that might be your goal and that's fine, but that's not my goal. I'm just looking at my cabin in the woods. I don't want this fancy car, Laura says naps have become fun, especially working from home. Yeah, so that's going to be, after this, I'm going to go into kind of structuring your day. And a lot of, especially this past year, a lot of people are working from home, and it can be really tempting to get distracted. But again, that's why having a why is so, so important, because it's like, okay, do you want to take a nap, or do you want to set yourself up for the future that you're dreaming of? And I actually just posted, I mentioned my Instagram, I'll put it at the end, but it's melanie.ginsburg.realtor. I just posted today so I wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning, and I am not a morning person at all. I used to sleep in until 9 or 10, and it's still, I've been doing it now for 8 or 9 months, maybe more. It's still hard for me every morning when my alarm goes off. and I want to nap every single day, but I remember my why and I do it for future Melanie. And that's something that really helps me with any of my goals and just in life in general, is that I think about, like, future Melanie is a real person in my head. You know, it's not just like, oh, that's me in the future. Like, she's kind of a third entity that exists on her own. And so when I have a choice to make, and it's a choice between like a healthy choice and an unhealthy choice, like, do I want to eat 3 brownies tonight or do I not want to eat brownies? I'm like, future Melanie would feel really sick if I ate 3 brownies. So I'm going to do this for her, because present Melanie really wants to eat 3 brownies, but I know that future Melanie will not feel good. So that's just something that really helps me. And that's kind of to what people are saying about other motivational speakers. Everyone will have their own kind of tips and tricks, and see what works for you. You know, everything that I'm saying is just an option. It's just something that could work, but everyone is different, and see what works for you and see what sticks. Maybe what motivates you is something else. This is what works for me, and I hope it works for you, and you can try it, but you don't have to. Randy says, what if you just moved and you're new to a community? How do you start from scratch in a new location? And Christina just moved again. That's really hard, but it's not impossible. I've done a couple other webinars about social media. I think that social media would be your ticket here, because it's a way to connect with a lot of people in a little amount of time. And honestly, if you just moved, I bet there are Facebook groups or meetups for people that just moved, and you can connect with those people. And if there are other people looking for community, you know, okay, so let's say you meet 5 people who all just moved, and all 5 of you, you know, are actively looking for community and stuff, because that's what we want. And when you move to a new city, people, of course, are going to try to make friends. You have all of their networks as well. So it's harder, definitely. I've only been in Austin for about 2 years, but 1 year of that was COVID, so I wasn't really meeting any new people. So I'm definitely at a disadvantage, but that's why I rely so much on social media, on Facebook, on YouTube, and Instagram, and I've been able to build my business that way. So, and like I said, we have other videos about that on this channel, and I'm sure I'll be talking about that again. Carlos, my IG is melanie.ginsberg.realtor. I'll type it here. Oops, G-I-N-A. I can't misspell my own name. Melanie Ginsberg Realtor on Instagram. Beverly, I'm so happy that you're learning a lot. Okay, so now, how to structure your days. Okay, so I'm like you know, it's like, it's one thing to have all of your goals, but then it's like, okay, how do I even begin chasing them, you know? So this is going to be different if you're a full-time agent or a part-time agent, of course. But both of these, I'm going to say it's all about optimizing your time. So take a look at what is the most effective way you could use your time. If you're a full-time agent, you know, you have theoretically like 16 hours in a day to work on your business, although I don't suggest that, and I'll get to that in a second. If you're a part-time agent, you theoretically have like 3 or 4 hours. So what can you do in that amount of time that can get the biggest results? And that will be a trial and error, because of course right off the bat you don't know, you're new, you've never done these things before. So just try and go easy on yourself, because a lot of you are new agents, and there's so much to learn. There's so much to learn about being a real estate agent. There's so much to learn about your brokerage and the way things work there. There's so much to learn about marketing to get clients. There's so much to learn. I mean, there's just so much to learn. But you're all in the right place, and you're all going to be amazing. So just go easy on yourself, because everyone was new once, and everyone was overwhelmed once and had to learn all of these things for the first time. And they all figured it out, so you can all figure it out. You can all figure it out too. Having a morning routine is huge, huge, because your morning sets up your whole day. Duh. But I used to run my own marketing agency before I got my real estate license, and since it was my company, I was able to do whatever I want, and I never set an alarm. And I loved it, because I was able to get up whenever I want, and I had these slow mornings to myself. But now that I have a very rigid morning routine, I realized that having that slow morning pretty much set me up for a slow day, because there was no like purpose or intention behind it, you know? So now, like I mentioned, I wake up at 5 a.m. You don't have to wake up at 5 a.m., but if you have a full-time job, that could be kind of your hack, is waking up early and doing some work before. There's a lot of research that shows that your mind is sharpest in the morning, and if you do the hardest thing in the morning, then you get it out of the way for the rest of the day. Whereas if you just keep putting it off, you'll never do it. Like, it's really easy to be like, oh, I'll just do it later, and then all of a sudden it's 11 p.m. and you're like, oh, I'll just do it tomorrow. So do the hardest thing in the morning. So there's something called a miracle morning. There's a lot of variations on this as well, and again, do what works for you. My morning routine, so I wake up, we take my dog for a walk with my fiance. I like to read a little bit. I like to journal. But for journaling, it's mostly just like reviewing my calendar. Yes, Christina, the best morning routines definitely start the night before. So the night before, I write out my whole day for the next day. So then in the morning, all I need to do is open it and look at it, and it's already been written out for me. And that really, really helps me. So walk, read, journal, I meditate. I, of course, drink coffee because I'm waking up at 5 in the morning. Then I have breakfast, and then, I'm ready to go. Some days I'll run, some days I'll go to the gym. These are the things that I do every single day. And it's just, it's really a mindset. How I said when I wasn't setting alarm, even though I wasn't doing it on purpose, what I was basically telling myself and my body was there's no reason to get up, you can just relax and kind of be lazy. So then that's the mindset that I had the whole day. But setting alarm early, it's like, I'm doing things today. I have a lot to get done, and I'm going to achieve my goals. So even though I don't like waking up at 5 in the morning, on the days even that I don't wake up at 5 in the morning, even if I sleep in until 6 or 7, which is still so early, I'm it just changes my whole perspective on the day, because I'm just thinking, I slept in today, I'm not sure if that makes sense. But again, play around with it for you. Whatever it is, some people like to, I don't know. There's a million different things you can do in the morning, but routines are great because you don't have to think about it. And this is to the people who say, I'm not organized or I'm not disciplined. Sometimes I don't want to read in the morning, or sometimes I don't want to meditate, or sometimes I don't want to journal, but it's a routine. It's a habit. I've been doing it for so long that you just become used to it. And then you start thinking about it like brushing your teeth. Some nights I'm tired and I don't want to brush my teeth, but I've been doing it every single day for my whole life. So it feels weird for me not to, and there are so many things that you do every day, probably that you don't even think about, like brushing your teeth. And you would never be like, brushing my teeth is such a chore. But I bet when you were a kid and you first learned it, it did seem like a chore. And now it's just like, oh, I do that every day, So, yeah, okay, I was just catching up on the comments. And Martha, you are an inspiration. Okay, this is my favorite hack, and it's called block scheduling. So you can block schedule your days or your week. And what this means is basically putting blocks in your schedule. So these can be blocks of okay, Monday is my outreach day, and Tuesday is my content day, or whatever it is for you. Or it can be okay, from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., I'm going to read my MLS and I'm going to find the new homes. And then from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., I'm going to respond to emails. And then from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m., I'm going to cold call. And you can have this every single day. So again, it's about setting up systems and habits. So then if you do this long enough, you can be like, oh, it's 10 a.m., it's time to respond to my emails. And then it's also like those blinders that I mentioned, because let's say you get an email at 2 p.m. and we all have notifications that are screaming at us 24/7, but you can say, no, 10 a.m. is my email time. I'm not going to check this email even though I want to. And that helps you from being distracted. So that leads us right into boundaries, which are very important. Since you get to set your own schedule now, which is very liberating and freeing, but it can also be, I don't know. It can be a lot. So set boundaries, especially if you have friends and family that are important to you. And like someone said earlier when this first started, real estate is a 24/7 job. And I have struggled with this too. It is possible to work 24/7 on this business. And especially a lot of you I know are super, super ambitious and you have really big dreams and you have really good SMART goals now that you've all established them. It can be easy to be like, oh, I'll just stay up until 2 a.m. tonight because I really want to get this out. But set boundaries for yourself. Make sure you're taking time off, that you're resting. Make sure that you can set a boundary with your clients that you won't answer the phone after a certain time of day or before a certain time of day. Because some clients, of course they're all different, but some clients will want to message you all day, every day. And you can just say, look, I don't answer my phone after 8 p.m. or 6 p.m. That's time to be with my family, So you can set boundaries like I said, with the block scheduling, the specific things. Okay, emails is 10 to 11, so my boundary is when I get an email ping at 9 p.m., I'm not going to read it. Or you can set boundaries for the day, My work day ends at 6 p.m. I always take Wednesday off. You'll see Saturday and Sunday are the busiest days for real estate agents, and a lot of the world runs on a schedule where Saturday and Sunday are weekends. So when I first got my license, for many, many weeks, I was taking 0 days off because I'd be like, oh, I'll take Saturday and Sunday off. And then those were the days I was working the most. And I said, okay, Wednesday's my new weekend, Tuesday and Wednesday. So figure it out for you. Figure out what works with your schedule and your values. If you play in a softball league and that is super, super important to you, say, okay, whenever softball practice is Wednesday night and that is me time and I'm always going to give myself that me time, and that's a boundary that you're setting with yourself and with your clients. Christina says, how do you stop doing one uncompleted job to go to the next? That's a good question. Depends on what the job is. If it's happening a lot, then I would say there are a few ways I can interpret this question. I'm not sure if you mean if you have a full-time job and you need to go to that job. But if you are doing block scheduling, you can, okay, let's say you set an hour for emails and you're realizing it takes you an hour and a half. So then you can change your block schedule and now you have 90 minutes to do your emails. If it's just I need an extra 5 minutes to do this, boundaries are important. They can also be flexible. So if you just need an extra 5 minutes, you can finish it off with 5 minutes. Or you can just leave it uncompleted and say, I know I'll return to this tomorrow, and it's okay. The world isn't going to end if I have 10 unread emails in my inbox. The world isn't going to end if I am reading a book and I have to stop in the middle of the chapter. So that's just, there are a few ways to handle that, but it's really about what works best for you. So this is one of my favorite things, is this chart. Because it really helps me just prioritize my day. So on the left side, we have importance. Things are less important or more important. And then on the top, we have urgency. So things are urgent or not urgent. And for me, it's okay, I got an email. And then you feel like you have to respond right away. But the reality is most emails are not urgent and not important. So then if you see, that's the bottom right quadrant, and you don't do it right then. Especially the world that we live in with social media and advertising, and everything is competing for our attention every single minute. It can feel like, oh my God, I got a text message, I have to respond to it today. But depending on what the text message is, you can respond in a few hours, or you can even respond the next day. I do that sometimes, and none of my friends have disowned me for waiting to respond to their text, If, however, you get a text from, let's say you have a buyer client and you get a text from the listing agent on the house that they want, asking, saying, hey, we're about to choose the buyer that gets it. Can you just clarify this really quick? that is important and it's urgent. So do that right away. But if you get a text from your sister that says, hey, what was that restaurant we used to go to when we were kids? That is not that important and not urgent at all. So if it's urgent but not important, you can delegate it. That's something probably for a little bit further in your real estate career, having an assistant. Like there's transaction coordinators that you can hire. The contracts are very, very important. Actually, that is less important. I guess it's important, but it doesn't have to be you doing it. So you can delegate it. And if it's something important but it's not urgent, you can schedule it. And maybe for you, what works with your block scheduling is having, a set time in your day, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., that's just miscellaneous. And you can have that there so when things come up, especially with real estate, things will come up. Let's say you all of a sudden got a new client and you're super excited about it. You can say, oh, I have room in my calendar. Let's talk at 1 p.m. because that's my miscellaneous time. I don't want you guys to block your schedule so much that you don't have time to be with your clients. The other thing is you could have in your block schedule, okay, Saturday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. is showing time, assuming that you have buyers to go around and do showings with. And then if you don't have showings, you can have a plan B. Okay, so either, like when I don't have, okay, this block of time is for showings, but if I don't fill the whole time, then I'm going to watch a webinar about marketing, or I'm going to watch a training video that my broker put out about contracts, or I'm going to play basketball with my friends, whatever it is, depending. I wouldn't suggest playing basketball if you are trying to have weekends be your work days and take a different day off during the week. But if you want some sort of weekend relaxation for yourself, then you can say, okay, if I have buyers, I'll be out there with the buyers. If I don't have buyers, I'm going to watch a movie or whatever it is you like to do to relax. And automate. This is a little bit, if you want to delegate it, but as many things in your business that you can automate, I suggest you do. So a lot of brokerages give CRM access for free or paid, depending. So if you haven't chosen your brokerage yet, that's a good question to ask. A CRM, oh no, I don't know what it stands for.
Customer Relationship Manager.
Customer Relationship Manager.
Management.
Management. And shout out to my mom who just fed that to me. So a CRM is a customer relationship management, which is amazing for real estate agents, especially because I've said this 1,000 times, real estate is all about relationships. So this is like if you meet someone at a party and they don't want to buy a house or sell a house today, but you do exchange contact information, you can put them in your CRM and you can be like, all right, I met Rachel. She's married to Paul, has 2 kids, and her birthday is in June 12th. And then if you put this in a CRM, depending on the CRM, you can organize it. So then June 12th, you get an alert, and then it's like, hey, Rachel, it's her birthday. And then you can be like, hey, Rachel, happy birthday. How's Paul doing? And your kids. And then Rachel's like, oh my God, wow, I am so impressed with you for remembering all of that. I definitely can tell that you're a good real estate agent too. You know what? It's time for us to buy a house. I'm so glad you reached out. And a lot of CRMs will do this automatically. Not the birthday thing, but there is a spot where you're free to put all of that information and then you can sort it. The CRM that I use, that I get for free with my brokerage, is KV Core, which I love. It's set up for real estate agents. And my favorite thing about this is that it will send properties to people. So let's say I have a client, Emily, who wants a $400,000 house, 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. Instead of me, I have to set it up and I'll say, okay, here are these 10 properties. Which one do you like? If you like any of them, let's look at them this weekend. KV Core will do that for me. And it tracks all of it. And Emily can come into my KV Core and favorite different houses. And then I can see which one she favorited. And it just makes everything easier. So this is a huge time saver. And it's good to have CRMs from the beginning because I really think it's best to set things up before you need them. So, 3 years from now, you're going to have 1,000 friends in your city, and it's going to be too much for your brain to keep track of all of it by itself. So it's easier, instead of putting 1,000 people into your CRM 3 years from now, you can just add them 1 or 2 at a time, Or if we want to bring everything full circle, if your goal was to meet 3 people every day, you can put 3 people in your CRM every day. Super manageable, instead of having to put 1,000 in one dump. So this is my favorite thing, is asking good questions. And this is also for the goal stuff that we talked about at the beginning. A lot of this stuff is going to be about self-awareness and what works best for you and what motivates you. So I think it was Christina who asked, how do you have time to plan all of this? Every Sunday, I look at my week and I say, what is one thing that if I accomplish it this week, I will be so proud of myself and I will be so happy? And then if the answer is record 3 YouTube videos, then that's pretty much like a compass to me. And like, okay, well, what I'm feeling motivated about or excited about right now is YouTube videos, so I'm going to do that this week. If the goal is like, oh, let's say Emily, I'm working with Emily, I really want to get her house under contract this week. So then it's like, okay, when I block my schedule, I'm going to make a lot of time for meeting with Emily so I can figure that out, because that's my one goal this week. So the first question is, if this helps you, you can do it for a day or a week or a month, whatever it is. If I could only accomplish 2 things today that would make me feel proud, what would they be? That's really important, especially if you are working a full-time job, because it's like, all right, if I only get 2 things today, what is it? I want to post to my Instagram, that's 1, and I want to cold call 3 people, that's 2. And then you can just do those 2 things right away, and then you're like, wow, I did it. Everything else is a bonus. So that's really, really clarifying and helpful. And the second question is, what is one thing I can do that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? This is a Gary Keller quote. He is from Keller Williams, and he has a great book called The One Thing, and it's all about how you should focus on one thing at a time. But this question is so good, because you can say, what is one thing I can do that makes everything else easier? Okay, well, maybe entering 1,000 names into my CRM is super annoying right now, but will it make my life easier in the future? Yes. Okay, so that's your one thing that you should focus on. These 2 questions combined are really, really powerful. Ask yourself this every day or every week, or, again, whatever works for you. And then the 80-20 rule is amazing for everything, but especially for time management. And this says that 80% of your results will come from 20% of your efforts. So 80% of your clients will come from 20% of your marketing efforts. And it will take a little bit of time. Like I said, it's trial and error. You have to see what's going on to see what are the ones that are working. But this is something that I love to do, is I look at all of the clients that I have and I say, how did I get them? How did I meet them? Were they a referral? Did they come from my YouTube channel? Did they come from my Facebook page? Did they come from, went to my high school, And then I can say, oh, wow, it looks like 4 of my clients came from my YouTube channel. That must be my 80-20. I should focus more time on my YouTube channel. And sometimes it's surprising. It could be like, wow, 3 of my clients came from the improv class that I'm in. Like, I had no idea. I was just doing improv because it's super fun. Guess I'm better sign up for more improv classes. So it can be really illuminating. And all of these things are meant to act as a compass to just keep you in line. All business, all of life is trial and error, and you're going to stray off of the path a little bit, and that's okay. It's about returning to the path. So if you want to spend a week handing out popsicles in the park, and then you realize that you didn't get any results from that, that's totally fine. It wasn't a wasted week, because you learned that it wasn't effective to hand out popsicles in the park, And the caveat with that is that a lot of these things take time. So just because you didn't get a client after 1 week doesn't mean it wasn't successful. It just means it wasn't successful that day. I think the statistic is that 97% of leads, of real estate contacts that you make, will not be ready to buy that day, but they will buy from you or sell eventually. So yeah, narrow things down. And then I really have 5 main things that I try to spend all of my time on in a day and in a week. And my 5 things are helping my current clients, prospecting, doing outreach, networking, basically meeting new people, doing sales calls, which would be converting those new people into clients, content creation, that's writing for my, blog, my Facebook post, making Instagram reels, which I did last week and I love, they're so fun, making YouTube videos, and then learning, reading books, attending webinars like this. So you guys are already doing one of them. You guys can steal this list, my 5 things, or you can create your own, because everyone's going to have different things and different goals. And again, this is super helpful because if I do, let's say I blocked off 2 hours to look at properties with a buyer and it only took 1 hour, then I have an extra hour. I can say, okay, what do I want to do with this hour? And then I look at my 5 things. Okay, well, I can either read a book or create some content, And then it's also really easy, like I was saying before, with different goals, it puts blinders up. If someone says to me, hey, Melanie, I just started this amazing real estate networking group and I really want you to create a logo for me. Can you help me create a logo? I would be like, is this one of my 5 things? Does this contribute to my goals in any way? And then I can say no. So it's all about clarity, and the more clarity you have, then you don't need to rely just on your discipline or your organization or whatever. If I wake up and I say, I know I need to spend 3 hours today cold calling or whatever, then you do it. Then it's not like for me, the big problem was you wake up and you're like, what should I do today? And there's just so many things that it's overwhelming. Whereas if you wake up and you already have your schedule mapped out from the night before, you don't have to think about it. So if you have any questions, follow me on Instagram and message me there. Also, I see a question about my YouTube channel, which is my name, Melanie Ginsberg, Real Estate Essentials. And I do a lot of videos about this sort of stuff too. Like marketing. I love marketing, guys. I have a marketing background, and I got into real estate because I realized that real estate is mostly marketing. So thank you, everyone, for saying that this is helpful. That's what I'm here for. I really just want to help you guys with your business and with your goals. A big thing that I didn't have on here is accountability for goals. If you ever need any accountability with your goals, there's a lot of research that says telling someone else what you want, it makes it more likely that you'll achieve it, because there's someone else being like, hey, you said you were going to quit smoking. Why are you smoking that cigarette? So if you want to tell me what your goals are, what your why is, what your 5 things are, anything like that, I'm always open to helping and connecting with all of you. You all so great people. Message me on Instagram. Tag me in your Instagram posts if you want. I'm really here for you, and I'm here to help in any way that I can. So let me know. Don't be shy. Don't feel like you're bothering me, because I promise you, you're not. And have an amazing day. If you're studying for your real estate exam, good luck. I believe in you. You're going to pass for sure. And if you're already a real estate agent, you're amazing. Good luck. Get out there and conquer the rest of the day. I will talk to you next week.